Hello everyone, and it is Cinderella time. And so notice I'm doing a better job at housekeeping, not a lot of clutter on top of her. She's in my kitchen. So you would think that I would want to keep things a bit tidier, but this is kind of a neat place to hide things. It tends to become a dumping ground. Here's a little bit of bubble wrap that I hid in there. Look at the nice moisture we've got going on this grocery bag that I put on the top when her Amazon mailer started to disappear on us. So that's good to see. Moisture on the top of a bin that normally has a little bit of an issue holding in moisture with such irregular bedding. So here's this Amazon mailer. There's some little pill bugs helping me out to shred that with their chewy teeth, and that's fine by me. I'm just moving them aside. All right, so what we're doing with this kitchen bin is I was just loosely using my hands basically to sift, bigger material from more finished material. I want to keep the depth of vermicompost low in this bin because it is in my kitchen. I don't want it, building up 8 inches of depth in my kitchen. I want to get castings into, or vermicompost, not even 100% finished castings, into my storage containers to age out the bin. And so what I am preparing to do is a half harvest here. So let's look at our half harvest end, see if we can find any more, large matter like this pine cone that I can throw to this end. And presumably, because I fed now exclusively in the large area, I will be seeing fewer and fewer worms in this area down here. Now, this doesn't mean that Cinderella's vermicompost that is on this half migration side stops being processed. Just because the worms aren't in it, that's not the case at all. Remember, it's the microbes that actually do the work to get material broken down. And so, this is very active, lively vermicompost. So microbes will be continuing to break this material down. And so it doesn't matter that I have migration happening to the larger chunk end. This material here, any large bits in it will continue to get broken down. I'm just helping it out by taking, leaf stems from the dried flower bouquets and everything that I might not have sifted out the initial time that I went through here to start setting up this half migration. So this is looking fantastic. I'm going to pull this material out at some point very soon and do what I said, like put it into its own tote, worms and all. Any worms that are in this half area, everything will go into a tote system. There, right on the top, is a cocoon. So any cocoons, any worms, there's more cocoons sitting on the top there, will go into the container, and they will start aging out. Those cocoons will hatch. The worms, as they grow up, will become increasingly obvious to me, and I can start pulling them out of this area. So, honestly, this material is looking like it is almost ready to do that. So excellent, Cinderella. You've done a great job. All right, so let's just even that out. I don't know if you spotted any worms while I did that, but I don't think I did. So, even though this is not an imperative for me to do a harvest, I think probably the next time I'm in Cinderella, I will be pulling this side out. There's that cocoon, or another one. I'm just going to make sure it's covered up with some nice damp vermicompost because cocoons like it damp. All right, so I don't want to mix the big material into the bit that I am preparing to pull out next time. So I'm I'm going to grab this bag here. There we go. And I'm going to put the large material that I'm going to dig down through this, I'm going to put it on top. And I can feel worms right in that very top layer of irregular material. This is what a Starbucks cup liner looks like months and months and months after being in a worm bin. Obviously, I use this for a baiting cup. You can see holes in this liner that I cut out into the Starbucks cup. And there's the liner. We're just leaving them in here. You'll see a few of those liners go by in Cinderella. There's another one right there. I'm just leaving them in here and just seeing over time what happens to them. All right, so here's some of her regular bedding. That is from, you know, that moving tape, that clear 2-inch moving tape. That's the inner roll from that. There's my husband's haircut, another irregular bedding for Cinderella. All of these dried flowers, that's actually, I think, one of these, this stiff one, I think, is a stem. Had some fresh rosemary, fresh herbs from my garden. And so those are from that. And these are the forks from our road trip. Nice worms on the forks. Not even able to bend the forks, so whatever is attracting the worms to the forks, I doubt it's the wood itself starting to break down. I think they're like popsicle sticks. I think they'll be in there a long time. So I'm not going to deplete all of Cinderella's castings when I do a half harvest. So you see I've got lots of castings on this side. Last time I was sort of pulling any finished castings out and putting them to one side, but I'm going to leave these castings in this area now because I don't want to deplete the environment of this bin down to nothing. I don't want to scrub this bin. Here's a little crawler. I don't want to scrub it clean. In fact, all the bacteria clinging to the walls and all this chunky material, all of the fungus and bacteria clinging to this is exactly what I need to keep Cinderella as a functioning, healthy worm bin, which she is in my kitchen. I started this bin in May 2020 as a cocoon bin. As I was harvesting my first castings, I was finding cocoons and I went, oh, I'll put those in a special bin. And you know, just over time, she has been a great companion in our kitchen to take things from us, like this irregular bedding, as well as serve as a reservoir for cocoons, a safety net for worms in case, you know, we had disaster strike. As I learned how to, you know, manage my other systems, Cinderella has always been there as a steady system. Despite the irregular bedding, you know, her worms breed probably as fast or faster than my other bins. The bin itself always has excellent processing speed. I think the diversity of the microbiome is what does it, from all these leaf stems and other materials. I think that's what helps Cinderella stay nice and healthy. So today, Cinderella is getting another irregular feeding. This is the cotton from the top of a vitamin container. That's just toilet paper roll. Another cotton from another vitamin container. And a sunflower. I think this is from Jason and Colleen. No, I think this one actually is from our garden. But I hope I've picked out all the sunflower seeds. Hope so. If not, we will find out because they will sprout. All right, so that irregular carbon goes into Cinderella. There we go. A little bit of newspaper. Because I'm going to be pulling out her half the bedding in perhaps as little as a week, I think I'm actually going to give her more just shredded cardboard. I didn't have a lot of saved up irregular bedding sources for her this week. So there's some just conventional shredded cardboard for her. She also got some leaf mold recently, so she's being treated to some conventional things. And I will give her a feeding. This is just our regular processed food scraps. Not that moist, but moist enough, and with the eggshell grit already worked in. So there are more worms in here than you know, my by the book bin that I just fed. So Cinderella gets a much larger feeding, I think a little bit more. Yeah, she gets more food. Like I said, she processes food fast, and so I don't have any worries. There is no sign of fungus gnats or anything in this bin. It's a very healthy system, and I think the balance is good. And not that fungus gnats aren't part of that balance, but I do think the speed of processing is what keeps the fungus gnats at bay. The faster the worms process the material, the less likely you are to attract other non-desirable pests. That I learned from Bentley Christie. All right, Bentley the compost guy Christie. All right, so here's all our chunky material now coming right over back onto this feeding area. I'm just going to take this piece of brown paper and tip it up. And then I will distribute this chunky material again in this area. I know that's kind of, I've created sort of a cliff here. So that's okay. They will eat this down, and I will take this newspaper and spread it out sideways. There we go. There's the packing tape roll, the Starbucks cup liners. So like I said, I don't want to take this bin down to just 1 inch deep, so I gave her a healthy dose of new bedding so that when I pull this all out, you'll want to be on this side, guys. When I pull this out, the bin will not be beaten down right to the bottom. All right, that's Cinderella for today. Looking good, ready for our half harvest in a week. Bye, everyone.